In the sports world, Shohei Ohtani has gotten a ton of attention for what he's been able to do in the baseball world, which totally makes some sense. In 2021, if you look at overall WAR, he finished 20th best in offense and 21st best in pitching, making him the overall leader in WAR in 2021. In 2022, the offense dipped a little bit in terms of WAR, but the pitching was nearly the best in baseball, as he was the third best pitcher according to WAR in baseball, while still being the 52nd overall best offensive player, which is obviously still very good. He's gotten a ton of praise, a ton of accolades, and it is all 100% deserved. But what if I told you there was someone who's done this before in a sport which is even more difficult to do it? And not just that, but he wasn't just performing well in both offense and defense. He was performing arguably the best at his position in both of those positions. And not only was he debatably the best quarterback and safety in the league, he was also debatably the best punter in the league as well. I am talking about the great Sammy Baugh. Just look at some of these numbers. Sammy Baugh was an 8-time completion percentage leader as a quarterback, while he was also a 5-time punting average leader. He eventually, after 5 or 6 seasons or so, stopped playing the safety position and became just a full-time punter and quarterback. But in the time that he was a safety, he ended up with 31 interceptions in 61 games. He averaged over an interception every other game. Over the course of his career, he had 4 first-team All-Pros, 4 second-team All-Pros, and 2 NFL championships. This was pre-Super Bowl era, so no Super Bowls because they were called NFL championships back then. His banner year was in 1943 when he led the league in interceptions, yards per punt, and completion percentage. Again, just to be clear, I'm not saying he threw the most interceptions that year. I'm saying he actually caught 11 interceptions as a safety while also leading the league in yards per punt and leading the league in completion percentage as a quarterback. He also had a season where he had a passer rating of over 100, which doesn't sound that impressive, but in the 40s, trust me, it was incredibly impressive. That's like having like a passer rating of 140 in today's NFL. It was a different time. It's a different era. Trying to compare him to someone like Shohei Ohtani, who played an entirely different sport, I have no idea how you would even go about comparing those two guys. But I just feel like there were some, unique comparisons with a football player who played several different positions all at the same time and was dominant in those as well. Honestly, with 8 overall first or second team All-Pro finishes, you could make the argument that he belongs in the GOAT conversation, especially when you factor in his defense and his punting as well. Certainly one of the most unique players to ever play the game.